Welcome back to a special edition of Sunday Walk, though I'm sitting here enjoying the scenery and enjoying this nice weather. So it's a little bit different, but I'm here to talk about what happened with Bitcoin and the entire crypto market last week and what to expect this week. Well, obviously a lot of you guys know the crypto market pulled back a little bit last week, okay? Mostly due to two macro fears and a lot of liquidations. That's honestly what happened. So we had an FOMC meeting last week where Powell was vindictive and purposely threw some shade and just made the market really worried. Market jitters started happening by saying, well, September we might not have a cut. You know, that kind of kicked things off. And then we had a pretty bad jobs report and revision for the last few months showing that growth stalled, basically non-existent. Although the asterisk to that is it does give Powell and the Fed Reserve, the other governors, a reason to cut in September because it was boosted above 90% after that. But still, a lot of macro jitters that brought things down, brought Bitcoin down. We saw a large amount of ETH outflow from the ETFs, and we had a lot of liquidations. Over 1 billion longs liquidated. Again, those market makers, they're really good at what they do, and they take advantage of these situations. When there's a lot of FUD out there, what do? They tend to move markets to drive people out. But like I said, I even said in my video on Friday, I said Bitcoin, if it keeps going down, it'll probably touch about like 111-ish before bouncing, because that's a level, a liquidation level, a liquidity level that the whales, or the market makers I should say, will probably bring us down to. And that's exactly what happened. We went down to 111.4 or ish or something, and then we bounced back up. Now we're 114.5, getting back to 115, and a lot of technical analysts are saying this was a perfectly normal drop. I saw one that says we're in an inverse head and shoulders, and everything has reset. So basically, if there's nothing bad, no macro news, we should get right back up to where we were before, 118, 120, and could push even further than that. Another good thing is there was a large institutional whale that put in 300 million into ETH right after the dip. So obviously, institutional flow is not stopping. A lot of them are taking advantage of the dips. They know this is perfectly normal. Nothing goes up forever. Kind of sucked that last week we went down. Yeah, I'll admit that. I was hoping for a good week, but overall, can't really complain when Bitcoin is still where it's at, 114, 115. We're not that far off from our all-time high, and volatility is way, 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 way lower than even a few months ago, guys. When we fell down to the 70s, we fell down to the 80s, we fell down to 100. Our volatility for Bitcoin right now is super, super low. I saw Cantor Fitzgerald also restated that they believe Bitcoin's going to 1 million. I don't know if there's this cycle or this next cycle. I think it's the next cycle, because I don't think they call this cycle, but they came out and said, hey, nothing's changed. Institutional inflow is still really high for Bitcoin and ETH, even though we may have temporary setbacks. But overall, there's only so much to go around, especially for Bitcoin. Bitcoin only has that 21 million, and that's it. ETH has more, unlimited amount. There's an inflation rate, but still, they are buying more than what's being released. So overall, no worries whatsoever. Now, some of the alts obviously took a tumble, and that's disappointing. But you know what? Come back. Sui took a bigger dump than I expected. I saw that it's because they had a $200 million token unlock, and it was just like bad time when things were coming down. But it's coming back up along with Sol. Sol's coming back up. XRP. A lot of the alts took a decent dump, and that's because of the liquidations, right? I tend to focus just on the Bitcoin liquidation chart, But I bet if you look at it for all these others, there's plenty of people that go longs. And these liquidation heat maps show that people are going long like 50, 100x. They're not doing 3, 5, 10x. Most people playing are going crazy. That's why there's so much liquidations, right? But if everyone just stuck with like a 3 to 5x, it would be really, 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 really hard to get liquidated unless we go down catastrophically, right? But it's because these guys are playing with such high leverage. But you know what? It goes both ways. When we recover, these guys make a lot too, right? Like sometimes I still gamble and, you know, put in some longs whenever I feel like it's the right time. So I get it. I get it. But overall, this week I looked at it. Macro stuff, not a whole lot. I think on Thursday, there's the jobless claims. So we'll see if unemployment actually ticked upwards. That'll be key because just like the jobs report that came out that showed that we didn't add a whole lot of jobs, if this jobless claim shows that a lot more people claim for unemployment and unemployment ticks up, that pretty much sets we will have a rate cut in September. But more importantly, maybe we get a 50 basis point cut in September. If there's more hints about that, keep in mind we have one Fed governor that just resigned too. If we get someone that's a pro rate cut person, along with all the data we have, we may get a 50 basis point cut in September. Powell may not have a choice if everyone is voting in that direction, right? So if we get hints of that, that'll be good. But overall, this week, I saw there's not a whole lot of macro stuff. CPI doesn't come out this next week. It's the week afterwards. So we'll have to see. But, you know, we're done liquidating the longs. We're resetting. And the buying continues. There's really no reason why we can't recover this week right back to where we were and then move forward. Stocks also. A lot of Coinbase stock had a horrible Friday because of their earnings. Circle took a dump too. I think a lot of these will recover. People will realize, hey, you can't. Oh, and MicroStrategy too. MicroStrategy took a huge dump even though their earnings showed fantastic number because of the Bitcoin gains. So I think these will recover too. I think overall last week, just a panic dump. The macro, the jobs report, the revisions, which was ridiculous, by the way. So the person in charge of the jobs report has been fired. At first, I didn't really quite think, I thought that was kind of pity to fire him. Or pathetic, I should say, not pity. But then I realized all the wrong numbers, all the revisions, huge revisions and stuff like that. It makes sense the guy's just not, or the gal, not competent for the job or doesn't have enough data or something. I don't know how things can be revised hundreds of thousands just within a month. It doesn't even make a lot of sense. Was it like weather forecasting? You're just guessing what the numbers will come in at? I don't quite know. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this week as always. I'll still be here for a couple more days. But you know, in case, look at this. It's called Shark's Cove. Really, really shallow waters in this cove, and everyone's here looking for not sharks, but just fish and sea turtles and stuff. It's really nice. I'm gonna go check this place out. It's beautiful. It's been beautiful out here. I mean, even though it's like, what, 90 degrees, but it really hasn't. It's like 85 degrees and it's not humid. You know, it's not humid at all. And it's just, it's hot when there's direct sunlight, yes, but like when there's shade, the clouds come out, it's actually quite nice with the breeze, and the water is like an 85 degree water. I mean, it's beautiful out here. Beautiful. But people, I will say, people in Hawaii do not know how to drive. I think everyone drives like without a care in the world, so everyone's driving really slow. It's good for city people because then you could like zip around them really easily. But everyone here drives like without a care in the world, basically. All right, that's it, guys. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later this week. hang strong. I think the worst of last week is over, and we'll probably be in recovery week this week. All right? Have a good one. Bye-bye.